Debuting from the days of Medarot DS, it is the monochromatic white twin in a set of 2. It is LHB04 Ragna6 right form, with a kit of guard heater, beam sword, spark shot, biped legs, and the leg ability of P-loader, which buffs the success of melee skills relative to the amount of the user's charged metaforce. Now, much like with his twin Ragna6 left form, this one is also a debutee from the days of Medarot DS and has been around for a pretty hot minute, and basically, much like his twin, is a very well-rounded model that can serve a number of different roles, either by himself or with his twin on the field. And when both twins are together, you can really make some sparks fly with some impressive stat boosts with support skills and some very powerful melee and shooting skills that can complement each other and other allies very, very nicely. Guard Heater on the head part is a support-based skill that once activated buffs 2 different effects of the allies across the team. The Guard in Guard Heater is a guard boost effect which will buff the resist stats of himself and all allies by 50%, meaning that he will be much more likely to tank damage and reduce it as low as he can, even if he wasn't already as high about that on the field as before. Higher damage reduction means less damage, which means you can stay on the field longer. The Heater bonus is just that, Heater, at a 50% bonus to the heat stat of everyone across the team between himself and any allies as well. So even though he may not have as much of an emphasis on speed as his twin, Ragna6 right form does still have some very solid and very well-rounded capabilities and stats to his advantage to really bring a lot of solid buffs and damage to the team, as well as keeping the damage as low as possible. Beam Sword on the right arm is an optic attribute skill that, when used, gets a ×2 damage bonus at 30% charge and a ×3 bonus at 100% charge. This is what you're going to really be cooking with when it comes to your base damage. And even if it is a heavy part with a base power of almost 1600, whether you have that charge or not, it's going to be still a very impressive skill that you can use basically anywhere, especially if you pair it off with something that is Metaforce reliant, such as, say, Full Charge or leg ability of Auto Charge or Charge Plant on the field. Then you can really start cooking with some numbers. And even then, the stats are still pretty solid too, with your heat and cool between the mid 500s to low 600s, which is usually about normal. Your success at about 1,000 isn't too bad. You could definitely do better, but it's definitely not bad either. Spark Shot or Charge Shot on the left arm is a shooting attribute skill that is also Metaforce reliant like his right arm. But much like it is with Charge Spark, which is the melee variant of this, it actually gives you a bonus in a different way. Unlike other kinds of charge-based attacks like Charge Buster or Hyper Charge Blade, which consume a percent of your charge for a damage bonus, Charge Spark and Charge Shot or Spark Shot instead will consume a small amount of charge at 5% or 10% if it's not raised, and instead boost your heat and cool stats by 50% for your entire next turn. So that means if you weren't already going fast before, well, guess what? You are absolutely going to be within the span of 1 turn, as long as you can keep the charge. Now, if you do not have the charge, you don't get the speed bonus. It's very simple. So it may not be something you can use immediately from turn 1 onwards, but from turn 2 onwards, as long as you can keep a charge, you can absolutely be cooking with the speed. Whether you use this to pump into Beam Sword or just spam Spark Shot repeatedly for a whole bunch of Mach 3 shooting attacks, or if you can use it for mixed parts and say with something more powerful but slower, you can really be cooking a lot of very solid speed bonuses with that attack alone, especially given that it also has passive pierce damage. Biped legs means that he'll have pretty solid coverage across most terrains, much like his twin, and very diverse terrain compatibility at that. And the leg ability of P-Loader also serves as a very solid counterpart and a mirror image to that of his twin, which has an emphasis on shooting skills. And that is most certainly no exception either, with the kind of stats that Ragna6 right form is bringing to the table. With a head HP of about 3,300, right arm at 3,300 as well, left arm at 3,000, and legs at 3,900. Basically, everything is almost 1-to-1, much like that with his twin, but the arms, of course, are mirrored. So, also goes to show that they are the monochromatic twins. But his stats are also pretty solid as well. Base heat and cool in the low to mid 900s for guard heater means you can use it very quickly and very easily. Base power of 1600 for the beam sword, like I said, and base power of 1225 for the spark shot means that you really won't have any problem in the armor department either, and that is bar any kind of damage bonuses that are also going for you. With leg stats, he's packing about 807 for the mobility, which is also off to a good start, but slightly slower than his twin. In trade, though, he is much more agile at it with an evade of 1438, and a little better rounded with a melee resist of almost 1300, but mirrors with a shoot resist of just shy of 1100. So again, kind of mixed mirrored numbers there as well. All this being said, though, as a pure set score, I honestly have to rate Ragna6 right form, much like it was with his twin, a very equal 7.5 out of 10 as well. Much like with his twin, Ragna6 right form is very synergetic unto himself, so you can use him by himself with almost no outside assistance required, and you can use his kit pretty easily. Plus, P-Loader also ties pretty solidly into Beam Sword as well, so the more charge you have, and as long as you can maintain it, the much more likely it is that he's going to be landing the hit more consistently, and even landing crits on top of that, even if it doesn't feed as well into Spark Shot. As mixed parts, I do have to rate him equally at a 7.5 out of 10 for these very same reasons. Even if it is that you can use Ragna6 right form by himself very easily as well, mixing the parts up or even mixing the parts between himself and his twin for a really unique experience can be a very solid way to make use of it as well. Such as, say, Beam Sword and Spark Strike on one twin, Spark Shot and Laser on another, and using them both for Guard Heater and Mobile Cooler between the two of them can be really solid. But as mixed parts, you really can't go either way no matter which twin you use. Whether it be the right form or the left form, they are very synergetic and very solid numbers between all three of them. But I do also have to mention, much like it was with his twin, if you're looking for someone that is absurdly broken or overly powerful, like a boss-type bot, the twins may or may not be someone built for you. But if you're looking for someone that is very conventional in what they bring to the table, is more or less ready to go right out of the box, and requires very little outside assistance, if any at all, the Ragna6 twins might just be your very best friends.